twist of fate. The cheese doctor's here. It's never too late. With a wheel of brie and cheddar so fine, he knows every flavor, every design. He's got the cures for every craving, from creamy goat cheese to sharp and amazing. No lactose, no problem, he's got the fix. Healing with cheese, oh, it's the ultimate mix. Oh, the cheese doctor, master of the curd, spreading joy with every bite. Haven't you heard? From Gouda to feta and Parmesan too, the cheese doctor knows just what to do.
Hi everyone, welcome once again to my YouTube channel, Dr. Quesero TV. Doctor with the word doctor. It's not DR. Doctor. Quesero TV. My name is Dietrich Truchsess, also known as the Cheese Doctor, and today, if you want to learn how to make cheese, this is the right place. Okay, there are some other influencers over there. There's one in Australia, Gavin Weaver, which is a friend of mine, but he doesn't know more cheese making than me. But anyway, thanks for coming, everyone. So if you want to learn how to make cheese domestically or industrially, you're in the right place. Even though I speak Spanish, I also speak English. I am based in Auckland, New Zealand, and we are we are almost 53,000 subscribers in YouTube and growing. And thanks to you all for giving me your confidence. Thank you to you all for trusting in me, because I try to do all the time my best to teach you how to make cheese at home. Okay. Well, today we are going to talk about something very important when we make cheese, and this is the just a parenthesis. This is the English version of the show that I do in Spanish. So the same show, what I'm gonna speak today, I already spoke it in the Spanish version, which was at 11. Sorry, at 9:30, 9:30 in New Zealand time, and now it's 11, and I'm going to do the same content but in English. Okay. Soon I will be doing something else because I want to carry on doing the live, but at this stage, YouTube is not activating the dubbing function yet. So when they activate the dubbing function, I won't be doing the shows in English, because I will be doing something else. I will be doing another show in English, but with different content. So and in this way the people who speak Spanish can understand what I'm saying in English, and vice versa. All right, and then we're gonna have more content for all of you. Um, if you have a question that you want to ask me anything, go for it. You shoot, and I'll see it here in the comments, and for sure I will help you out. And also you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, which is now X, YouTube, of course, and TikTok. Also, you can follow us, and we are also in China. We are in China, not making the live because I don't have the integration yet with for the platform. I will try to do it soon, but you can see our videos in English over there, and in Bilibili. Bilibili is the channel that we are using. So if you want to see our content, you don't speak much Spanish, but you speak English, you can see us in Bilibili. All right. Okay. Today we're going. There is someone here selling their cooperative. He's writing something. I don't know what is the. I reckon it's not here. I'm gonna take it out because he's not part of the show. I mean, there's no relative relevant content, so never mind. Okay. Today we're going to speak about, and let me show you here, standardization. All right, standardization is the yes, standardization. And this is, let me put it here. like this. Better. Okay, standardization. This is a very important topic when we are making cheese. So I want to tell you today all that no one would tell you um, about this process, because you're going to be successful and you're going to make good products and you're going to compete with the big ones. So no one would tell you what I'm going to tell you today. Okay, so let's start then. Okay, um, what is milk standardization? Okay, um, milk standardization is an industrial process. All right, let me put all my knowledge in order. In order. What I'm trying to do with this process, with this presentation, is demystify the concept of milk standardization. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, milk standardization, far from being an industrial process that detracts from the authenticity of our product, it is actually a powerful tool and that can improve the quality of the cheese that we make. And it also improves consistency, or give the same consistency of every lot that we produce, and of course, by producing a consistent product and unique and good quality product, we are going to get more profit of the wheels that we sell. Okay, and in this way, we can preserve the artisan essence of our cheeses, right? And before we get into these technical details, let me show you something first here. Okay, how many people are in Instagram? In Instagram, we have what happened here? I know here. Yeah, this is standardization. All right, good. I thought it was still in the intro. Okay, let's carry on. Okay. No, is this Matthew? Is this okay? This is the all right. And as I said, and before we get into this technical details, I want to tell you something, right? When we talk, why we talk about standardization when we make cheese, and for those who are in the artisan cheese business, right? Many of us associate standardization with mass industrial production, with the homogenization of the milk, and we associate standardization with the loss of character of the cheeses that we produce. However, this is false. This is a false dichotomy. That's not true. Standardization does not mean industrialization. Um, Standardization is only a tool. It's only a tool that allows to better control our processes, to control our raw material, which is in this case is the milk, and to achieve a more predictable and higher quality result when we are making cheese. Right? And the goal of standardization is not to produce identical or industrial cheeses. It is to ensure that each batch of our artisan cheeses maintains the distinctive characteristic, and that makes our cheeses special, that make our cheeses unique. And of course, without these unpleasant surprises or excessive variation that could disappoint our consumers or our clients, and that also would affect our reputation, right? Um, yes. Let me carry on here with the presentation. Okay, let's talk about milk. Okay, let's talk about milk. Milk is the raw material that we use to make cheese. Milk might be from cow, goat, sheep, camel, donkey. Even the human milk can make cheese. Of course, we're gonna use human milk to make cheese, but because it has protein, any animal that produce milk that has um, animal protein can be used to make cheese. All right, um, and milk, like any natural product, is variable. Is inherently variable. And this variability comes from multiple factors, right? And that, of course, influence its composition. First, the animal species and breed determine the um, the basis determine base levels of fat. Also determine different levels of proteins and other components like mineral salts and stuff. Okay, for example, the Jersey cow milk contains a different percentage than the Holstein the Friesen one cow's milk. The Jersey contains between 4 and 5% fat content, while Holstein milk is around 3.5, 3.8, 3.4. It will depend on the breed, all right? Seasonality is also an issue, okay? Seasonality also plays a crucial role. In spring, for example, with fresh grass, and the milk typically has more unsaturated fat acids and aromatic compounds than in winter when the feed is drier. Of course, and the milk from summer is different from the milk from winter, right? Also, the stage of lactation, sorry, is another determining factor. For example, early colostrum has a radically different composition to milk produced months after calving. When we are just milking the cows and the cows just gave birth, this the first milk that is produced by the cow is kind of yellow because it has colostrum. Colostrum is not good for cheese making. However, it's very good for the calf. So it's important that when we are making cheese, not to use this colostrum because it's good for the calf, and we need to give it to the calf. Or if the case that you are buying the milk already, from a farmer, it's important that if you see this type of milk, stop it, talk to the owner, and don't accept this type of milk because it's not good for cheese making. Right? Um, Add to this variable such as feed, the health status of the animal, and milking practices. This is also very important. All these factors combined make milk a dynamic product, a product that varies a lot. Okay, and it's never the same from one day to the next day. All right, and also varies from it also varies a lot from one season to the next season. All right, so it's very important that we take this in account because the yeah, because the standardization will help us to mitigate all that, right? Okay, now let's talk about this. Let me see. Consequences of uncontrolled viability. Okay, let me talk to you about this. Um, this natural variability, while fascinating from a biological perspective, presents also a significant challenges for us as a cheesemakers. And for example, when milk composition fluctuates uncontrolled, right, we can experience inconsistent yields of the cheeses that we produce. One day we could get 10 kilos of cheese per 100 liters of milk, and the next day we could get only 9 kilos of cheese um, for the same 100 liters of milk without having changed anything in our process. So this will affect our profitability and our pocket. See what I mean? So also the behavior during coagulation also becomes unpredictable. For example, the optimal curdling time might varies. The firmness of the hell of the hell might change, and this affect all subsequent stages of the process. Um, for example, during ripening, these initial differences are get amplified. Nutrients availability to the cultures and secondary microflora varies, altering, of course, the rate and profile of ripening. Um, um, Also, the end result will have organoleptic variations. For example, cheeses that should be similar, but they might get not noticeable differences in texture, in aroma and flavor. This is due to the lack. If we don't do the standardization accordingly, right? And last but not least, okay, the risk of quality issues might increases from minor defects to microbiological alterations that could compromise the safety of our product, or maybe the safety or our shelf life, right? When I'm referring to the shelf life, is the shelf life of the product of the cheeses that we produce. So it's very important that we control all these stages when we are making cheese, right? Let's carry on. Let me do the next one. The system is a little bit slow. Okay, but now let's talk about the basic of standardization. So, what exactly do we mean by dairy standardization? Because when I mean dairy, we can standardize the cream, we can standardize milk, and even we could standardize any product. There is a theorem called the Pearson theorem, okay, or the Pearson square is the correct word, when we can standardize any product. Okay, there is a video on my channel how to standardize, and we'll show you the mathematical equation how to do it correctly. Okay, but as I said before, what is standardization? The definition is that it's a set of process by which we adjust certain psychochemical parameters of milk to reach a predetermined value. For example, we want the milk to be from 4% to 6%, or vice versa. If the milk is 6%, we want to bring it to 4%. Okay. Um, in this case, we could be optimizing subsequent processing and the characteristic of course, of the final product. The main objective of standardization is to ensure consistency between one batch and the other. Also to minimize variations in yield, and to have always the same textures and flavor, and to optimize cheese yield, that we always produce the same amount of kilos of cheese per the liters of milk that we use. That's the idea. In this case, we could control the sensory profile of the cheeses that we produce, maintaining the same characteristic, and making the cheese recognizable for our clients. Um, um, since Let me put it this way: since with a more predictable raw material, it is easier to adjust the manufacturing parameter when we standardize. And in some cases, by standardizing our milk, we could comply, or we would comply, with regulatory requirements, specifically or especially if we were under protected designation of origin or on or geographical indications, right? For example, if you are making, and there is an example later on in the on this presentation, Parmigiano Reggiano belongs to a consortium, which is called Consortio Parmigiano Reggiano. This consortium demands that all the milk that they use should be from the area of the consortium and should have the same fat content. How do they get the same fat content? They need to standardize the milk. So this is what and this is because of the geographical indication, because these companies are working under the umbrella of the consortium and should and must respect all the rules to produce in this case the Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, which will is a recognized worldwide brand, right? Okay, now let's talk about the key parameters. Let me put it here in the presentation. Let me keep about the key parameters to standardize. What we need to consider when we are standardizing the milk. Okay, um, what do you reckon we should consider? Let me know in the comments so we can I can answer you, right? Okay. However, the most crucial the most crucial element to consider is probably the fat protein ratio. This fat protein ratio determines the yield, texture, and flavor of the final product. Okay, and when I mean final product, I'm referring to the cheese that we produce. Okay, each cheese variety has an optimal ratio that allows its typical characteristics to be expressed. Right. Um, the total solid contents also directly also affect the cheese yield and the efficiency of the dehydration process. The higher the solid of our milk content, the higher the potential yield. And here in New Zealand, in Auckland, in New Zealand, basically, we have a civil association called Fonterra. Fonterra is a group of all the farmers in New Zealand, right? And they make this association, and they pay and all the farmers belongs to the association. All the farmers are shareholders. So the 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 board pay the milk by fat content and not by liters, which is this practice is done in South America, right? So the higher the fat content, the more expensive is um, the milk per liter that this farmer get paid. The fat content is almost the same, but if the milk have total more solids per liter of milk, the this milk will be more expensive because it have more solid. So and this milk will be will be more expensive than the other ones in other countries. For example, when we pay in South America, because in South America, some of several farmers are not very ethical and they put water on the milk. I mean, I'm not saying that this is a general practice, but I have heard about these cases. So, in the way to control this is by fat content. So and by standardizing the milk, we can control that the fat solids that are into the milk are always the same. Okay. Um, the acidity level. When I say the acidity level, I'm referring to both the pH and titratable acidity. Okay, influences the activity of the starter cultures and the behavior during coagulation. Right. Um, when we and also this, and I'm going to talk about a little bit ahead. Um, um, when we produce the acidity, that depending on the level of acidity also will protect the milk and the cheese. The mineral balance, particularly the calcium and phosphorus, also affect the coagulation capacity and the characteristic of the coagulum form. Um, And although it is not a parameter of composition per se, the microbiological load is also fundamental, and this is what I wanted to tell you, to guarantee both the safety and the correct development of the fermentation, right? Why I say that? Because this microbiological load, um, if we have good lactobacteria feeding from the lactose and producing lactic acid, will this lactic acid produced will protect the cheeses in the long run. So if we don't have this microbiological load, our cheeses might be exposed to cross contamination, and therefore this product would not be as good as it should be. All right. So let's talk about the methods of artisanal cheeses. Um, Here in this slide, all right? Let me talk about this method of artisanal cheeses. But first, let me put it here. Okay, yeah, the techniques for artisanal cheeses. All right. All right. Um, as I said before, no, I haven't said it by the way. There is a misconception or a false belief that standardization requires a sophisticated equipment, complex industrial processes, and whatever. The thing is that there are multiple techniques and which are very accessible for the small companies to any size to do to achieve this standardization process, right? And I'm gonna tell you some of them. The simplest and perhaps is the blending of milk, the most simple one. Okay, this I believe is the simple, and we can make milk from different sources, combining, for example, morning and evening milk, or from different animals or breeds. We could mix cow's milk with goat milk to give this pigment flavor, or we could mix sheep milk with cow's milk or with goat milk, or mix of the three, or a mixture of the three milks. This is in our criteria because we are the cheesemaker. Okay, and the thing is that to adjust the fat content, we can use the calculated addition of cream when we need to increase it. Okay, or maybe we could use skim milk when we want to reduce this fat content. Right? So, and this is what we normally do. Um, when we are making cheese and we want to standardize the milk to a lower fat content, we put skim milk. If we want to standardize the milk to a higher fat content than from the original source, let's put it in numbers. If my fat is my milk fat, is my milk has a fat content of 3.4, and I want to take it to 6 or to 7, I need to put cream. So I need to add fat to my milk, so this level of fat increases, right? Um, the addition of skim milk powder is also a practical way to increase proteins, to increase the protein content without significantly altering the fat level. As you might know, there are milks in the market that skim milk in the market that has 0.5% fat, but have 3.4, 3.6% protein. So we could use this powder milk to mix it with the liquid milk that we have from the farm and increase the fat content and produce a different texture for the cheeses that we are making. Okay, um, for somewhat larger operations, small scale ultrafiltration also allows for protein concentration and adjust of the protein fat ratio with great precision. However, this machinery is a little bit more expensive. It's easier to use the fat content. To use the protein content, adding skim milk. And finally, controlled milk ripening is a traditional technique that allows for the adjustment of acidity before coagulating our milk, and also improving cheese making, improving the cheese making ability and developing aromas and characteristics of the cheese that we're going to produce. Um, so this is very important that you guys know, right? Okay, let's carry on with the next one. We're not gonna finish today because this presentation has 18 slides. So, and we won't have time, right? Also need to answer some questions that I have here in the show, and then we'll like wrap up. Okay. But anyway, we do as much as we can. So we're gonna go now with the techniques. Okay, and with the technique, I get lost. Wait, where are we? What is this one? Okay, accessible techniques. Blending of milk. This I already spoke about it. Okay, I already spoke about it. So let's go the advantage of let's talk about the advantage of implementing standardization. All right. Um, the benefit of implementing standardization practices um, are multiple, right? And I'm going to tell you some of them. Firstly, by standardizing the milk, we significantly, will improve the consistency and the quality of our product. Simple. Okay. We also reduce the incidence of defects and we will establish a recognizable sensorial profile in the product that we make. And this will build brand identity. Okay. If we always do this, make the same product, um, of course, by standardizing our milk, we will also produce the same type of cheeses, and this will be affected in your brand. You're gonna have popularity with your brand. Okay. Um, um, by standardizing the milk, we optimize the cheese yield, obtaining more cheese for each liter of milk processed. I already spoke about it. Okay, let me a study in artisanal cheese factories show that even a modest 1% increase in the yield can represent thousands and thousands of American dollars per year. Um, because it will be affected by the number of kilos that you make, right? Um, by standardizing the milk, we reduce cost by more precisely adjusting the dose of ingredients such as rennet, the lactic culture, which is very expensive, right? And also the salt that we use. And also by minimizing the rejection of the batches due to quality problems. Of course, if you follow, I'm talking about if you follow a correct food control plan that makes safe product for your consumer. But and standardization should be part of this food control plan. If you don't have it, this food control plan, I strongly recommend to have it. And if you don't know how to have it, let me just contact us and we'll help you out to how to have it. And you can book a call with us, and we can help you. We can help you to get this full control plan, which is imminent. It's crucial for your cheese making business. Otherwise, you can start, you can scale your product, you can scale your business if you don't have this in place, right? Um, when we standardize the meal, we can plan. The planning will become more efficient because we could predict our yield and allowing better schedule of production and better schedule for storage and marketing. All right. And finally, if we standardize our milk and we produce standardized cheeses, we can increase our chances of accessing more demanding markets, such as, for example, specialized retailers, and we could export our production, or we could sell to high how do you call it, high end restaurants, okay, who particularly value batch to batch consistency. They value that. Yes, and also we could expand more easily and faster if we use standardization, right? And it's very easy to standardize. Okay. Um, let's talk about this evaluation, and then let me. What is the name of the? So let's talk about how to start. Okay, what we have to do, how we can standardize. Okay. Um, let me put it this way: if we are convinced of the benefit of standardization, the first step we have to establish is to analyze our system and to analyze the system that we have in place, um, to allow us know the real composition of the milk that we are using. If we don't know the milk that we use, we don't know how much fat content are we gonna put or how much fat content do we have to take out. So there are basic systems that are very accessible to do that, right? And you can send your product to the lab, but it costs money. Okay, each lab test costs you easy $300. So the best thing to do that I recommend is to get a lactodensometer. Okay, and this lactodensometer, it will estimate the total solid, and the butyrometers will determine your fat content, or simple titratable acidity test or basic pH will measure you the acidity level, and also the coagulation test to evaluate cheese making suitability. Um, but if you want to scale your business, I recommend to use a lactodensometer. Why? If you're managing, for example, 1,000, 5,000 liters or more, lactodensometer is the best way to is your best option. It's not very expensive. It might cost between $3,000-4,000, a very good one, and you will recover it soon. I assure you that. Okay. Um, for example, of course, for cheesemakers with little more resources, and there are moderately expensive portable infrared analyzers, small some lab centrifuges, and basic microscopes as well. But it will depend on your allowances as an entrepreneur, on your budget. Okay. Another strategy is to establish, for example, collaborations with regional laboratories, university programs, or producers association. You can share resources, and also you can share knowledge, and even biweekly analysis can provide valuable information to implement effective adjustment in your production. Okay. The tests are expensive, so the best way, in my personal opinion, I would use, we could use this feedback from these people, or the lactodensometer. The lactodensometer is not so expensive, and I like it very much. I don't have it because I use milk from the supermarket, and my goal is pretty much to teach, right? I don't make cheese to a big scale, but I know that they exist. I know I have advised companies using it, and I have the text, the specification. I have gone to plants to see how they work and stuff, and we have been adjusting all these parameters. Okay, and so well, let's carry on. The next, okay, how to standardize. This is a very good point. How to standardize, and we want to leave it till here. Okay. I don't remember if I left it in the same slide for the Spanish version, but anyway, I'm gonna tell you that one of the most important parameters to standardize is the fat content. This is crucial. This is what I always do. The fat content. I don't really standardize the protein. I standardize pretty much the fat content, and there are several methods to do so. Right. For example, gravity skimming is perhaps the most traditional method, taking advantage of the lower density of fat. Um, what we do, the milk is left to rest in wide, shallow containers at refrigeration temperature for maybe 8 or 12 hours. And then, because the milk is non-homogenized, the top layer of cream will be so a top layer of cream will be formed on the surface of the milk. Okay, and this cream can be removed in the necessary proportion. This method has the advantage of not requiring special equipment. This is how the Parmigiano Reggiano is done, which and preserving the native structure of the fat globules, right? And also, manual or semi-automatic skimmers are more efficient, and this is another alternative, and they are based on the centrifugation by centrifuging the milk. And this method allows the fat to be separated quickly and efficiently from the rest of the component, right? And the separated cream can be reincorporated in the exact proportion or in the desired proportion. Finally, the calculated blending of milk is another simple method. We can combine milk with partially full or fully or skimmed milk according to a formula which is in the Pearson square. Sorry, I'm not gonna go in detail with it because there's a video in my channel about the Pearson square. You can go and watch it, and it have all the sorry, it have all the knowledge how to do it, all the content how to do it, and we explain in detail how to do it. Right. Well, we're gonna leave it till there, till here. In the next week, we're going to carry on working in the in this presentation. We're gonna be doing this presentation again. Carry on, so you guys can learn a little bit more about standardization. Remember, standardization is very important. If you want to make standard product, you have to standardize your milk. Okay, this is very important. Okay, this is we have 42 minutes. We're leaving now. Let me answer some questions. If you have questions here, let me talk. Let me see in Instagram. In Instagram, we have people entering and going out, and here is some people asking questions, and I have here in let's see. Hello, Carla. It says, "Hello, cheese doctor. I make cottage cheese with raw milk using whey and beef rennet. Is that whey that comes out useful, or should the milk be boiled?" Well, look, Carla. I understand that you are making cottage cheese with raw milk. At first stage, that's not good. Why? Because raw milk have pathogens. Raw milk can give you E. coli, Listeria, Salmonella, Streptococcus aureus, right? All these bugs that you will eat it if your milk is raw. So I would suggest pasteurize your milk, right? And another thing, if you are, but let's say that you are using raw milk to make your cheese, and you want to use this, and you want to drink this whey, this whey protein, you want to use it for your next batch. You're starting in a bad position because your whey protein comes from raw milk, which is contaminated. So you already started wrong because your whey protein, your milk is contaminated, and you are making a contaminated cheese, and therefore you're getting a contaminated whey, and so on. So if you use this source of milk, if you use this source of whey, your next batch is also going to have the same bacteria that into the milk. You're going to have the same E. coli, you're going to have the same salmonella, you have the same um, Streptococcus aureus, etc. If you want to drink it or you want to use it for cooking, you need to heat it. You need not boil it. There is no need to boil it, but you can heat it to 75 degrees Celsius. Leave it there for 3 seconds, 15 seconds, and then cool it down. All right. In this way, you will have a safe product, and you can use this way for making bread, for in sourdough, and anything. Of course, you cannot use it to make your next cheese because by heating your whey, and you're killing the pathogenic bacteria, but you're also killing the lactic bacteria. So you need to, and this way is not useful for cheese making, right? You use it for another product. If you heat it for a long time, you're gonna get a powder. This is protein in powder protein, but it's gonna take a lot of energy, and that's not practical. But my advice: start with a pasteurized milk, and then once the milk is pasteurized, if you want to use your start with pasteurized milk, inoculate your milk with your lactic culture, and make your cheese. This way that you're gonna use is safe because it doesn't have the E. coli, it doesn't have the pathogen, right? Of course, you have to control your safety. You need to control your cleanliness, because if you work in it, it's not clean, or your cheese making practices are not good, are not as they should be, you're going to cross contaminate your milk, even though if it is pasteurized. So you need to be careful, right? So this is my advice. Okay, I have another question here. Hello, doctor. Could you help me to resolve a doubt? I don't know what the difference between Oaxaca cheese and Chihuahua cheese. The only thing is that different in color. Well, honestly, I'll tell you what. I reckon the Oaxaca cheese is the Oaxaca people. The people from Oaxaca, from the town of Oaxaca, they say that the Oaxaca cheese is the authentic one, and the people from Chihuahua, they say the same. I would say that it depends on the area, and you make the cheese. So they made the cheese. If they made it from Chihuahua, they call it Chihuahua cheese. They make it from Oaxaca, Oaxaca cheese. But at the end of the day, it's the same cheese, right? It's the same ball. It's the same, made with ribbon. There is also another cheese which resembles to the Oaxaca cheese, but it's not the same. Siete Cueros, right? Which is a ball, but instead of being roll out, is needed in a circle like this. So this is Siete Cueros. There is a video on my channel how to make it, but at the end of the day, all of these cheeses are mozzarellas. Okay, so one is made with raw milk, one is made with pasteurized milk, but at the end of the day, all of them are mozzarella and are produced with the same technique of making mozzarella. Okay. The area where you make the cheese is what called differently. So there is no issue with that, right? Of course, I respect people from Oaxaca that they call the Oaxaca cheese, and also from Chihuahua. But at the end of the day, it's the same mozzarella. So if your goal is to learn how to make it, so you want to make Oaxaca, you want to make Chihuahua, learn to make mozzarella, and that's it. You're gonna make it. Okay, you can learn with me. All right. Okay, that's it. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to change the intro because I have the intro already recorded. I have a different intro and a different outro, but I haven't. It's too heavy, so I need to put it in the platform. It doesn't allow it. But anyway, if you want to learn how to make cheese, follow us. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Just spread the voice that I exist, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And remember that if you follow me, you're going to learn how to make cheeses and so much other beautiful things with milk. Okay? See you next week. Bye-bye.
In the lab with a twist fate. The cheese doctor's here. It's never too late with a wheel of brie and cheddar so fine. He knows every flavor, every design. He's got the cures for every craving, from creamy goat cheese to sharp and amazing. No lactose, no problem. He's got the